articles, the board recommended voting against on the shareholder proposal regarding the reporting of climate-related risks and opportunities. Please share with us more about the against recommendation.
Well, I think maybe Greg can talk a little bit about what Berkshire has done as opposed to in terms of the environmental. I would say this: it's very interesting. With everything that's being, I think we have over 1 million shareholders. I mean, you can't be 100% sure because of street name and duplicate accounts and all that sort of thing, but it certainly seems very, very likely. I've had, and I get the letters that are written to me. I don't think I've had 3 letters in the last year or anything from shareholders. Now I have them, and our vote on this, as you'll see later, is that overwhelmingly the people that bought Berkshire with their own money voted against those propositions. Most of the votes for it came from people who've never put a dime of their own money into Berkshire, and so they. And I don't think they've read our annual reports, and I don't think they've read the reports of Berkshire Hathaway Energy, and I don't think they know. If I talk about what we're doing in high voltage transmission, we're doing more than any company in the country. The president talked about what the government's going to do and how important it is, and we have a record that's overall is incredibly good, but we have a group of organizations just generally, and they're nice people, but they want us to answer a bunch of questionnaires their way, so they want us to go to Dairy Queen and Borsheim's and all those people, have them fill out reports that show a bunch of figures, when the reports that count are the reports that Greg gets on Berkshire Hathaway Energy and the railroad. And you talk about 3 of our companies, and you've covered 95% of it. And it's asinine, frankly, in my view. Now, we do some other asinine things because we're required to do them, so we'll do whatever's required. But to have the people at, Business Wire, Dairy Queen, all these places, filling out reports to make it some common report that comes in. We don't do that stuff at Berkshire. We've got, during the pandemic, we probably have about 12 people that come into headquarters, and we've got 360,000 people working in a company that all kinds of diverse activities, and it's built. I don't want to get into the whole thing. It's built on autonomy, and I am probably the only CEO of an S&P 500 company that does not get a consolidated income statement every month. I mean, every other company, I'll bet in the S&P 500, prints out the earnings they had at the end, from February and March, and the CEO gets, and a whole bunch of other people get it. I don't get it. I don't need it. And I could put 60 or 70 companies in a whole lot of trouble and everything, and they'd hand me something, and I know the answer to it already, and it doesn't make any difference. I mean, they've got the money they need. So we don't do things just because we've got a department of this or a department of that, and we don't want to set up a lot of departments like that. And what's important is what we're doing in primarily at Berkshire Hathaway Energy and the railroad. I mean, that's and I'll let Greg tell you about that in just one second. But
Warren, I don't think we know the answer to all these questions about global warming and so forth, and the people who ask the questions think they know the answers. We're just more modest.
Well, but even if we knew the answer, I mean, in terms of the reports we would not collect a whole lot of things that don't mean anything to us, and to satisfy people who actually don't own any stock themselves, and in many cases, I can tell they haven't read our annual report even. We, as I pointed out in the annual report, and nobody would have guessed this. People think we're a bunch of guys that own stocks and all that sort of thing. Berkshire Hathaway owns, by GAAP accounting, more property, plant, and equipment business infrastructure, which the president just got through talking about Wednesday night in infrastructure, the importance of it. We have, measured by cap accounting, more than any other company in the United States. We have more than any of those companies that are on the list of the largest companies in the country, but we've got it by a substantial margin. So we have an investment in what makes this country move and work. 15% of the interstate goods move on our railroad. And we're building transmission, and we started in 2006 or 7 planning how we would close coal plants. But you can't close coal plants until you get the electricity from where it's generated to the customer. And if you're going to generate it in Wyoming, and it's going to go to Las Vegas or someplace, and previously they had a coal plant near the place because that was the way it was done 50 years ago or 75 years ago, you better have the transmission. There's no sense having the wind blow in Wyoming and people try and turn on the lights in Las Vegas. So we went at the transmission plan question a lot earlier than people were talking about it. And we said 16 billion or whatever it was in the annual report that we underway, and we just added 2 billion since the annual report came out. And there's no utility in the country that's coming anywhere close to that.